Tonight, the dangerous new floods affecting the recovery in Texas and wildfires burning out of control at the iconic Grand Canyon. Central Texas, once again, the scene of evacuations and rescues. Heavy rain triggering major floods, washing out roads, and the recovery mission from last week's deadly catastrophe forced to pause.
It slowed us down, but it's not over.
Our team going behind the scenes with first responders. Wildfires burning out of control near the Grand Canyon. This popular historic lodge now gone. 2 people dead after a dramatic shooting spree in Kentucky. A state trooper hit at the airport. The suspect later opening fire again at a church. The latest on the investigation. Exactly 1 year after the first assassination attempt against President Trump, the critical failures described in a scathing new report out today. Growing anger from some of the president's supporters over his administration's handling of the Jeffrey Epstein case. Several people killed in Gaza, officials there say, some of them children trying to get water. And now new fears ceasefire talks could collapse. Why the AI chatbot Grok just said sorry to its users. Latest push by a team of scientists trying to create a real-life Jurassic Park to bring back an extinct species. And there's good news tonight about a blast from the past and one man's calling to help his neighbors.
This is NBC Nightly News with Hallie Jackson.
Good evening. We are coming on the air tonight with extreme weather, floods and fire in 2 hard-hit states. In Texas, intense rain once again pounding the central part of that state. Look at these rescuers you're about to see pulling somebody from a car in the rushing water. This house collapsing into a river. And further south in Kerr County, you can see roads flooded out. Some first responders searching for the 100-plus people still missing there after July 4th's flooding catastrophe forced to pause their recovery efforts. Farther west, it's fire spreading out of control in Arizona. As we're learning late today, the historic Grand Canyon Lodge has been destroyed at that iconic national park. Firefighters struggling to get a handle on the flames exploding along the canyon's north rim. We're covering it all, starting with Ryan Chandler in Kerrville, Texas.
It's the last thing Texas needed. Another storm slamming the central Texas region, already suffering from catastrophic flooding, drenching some areas with more than 9 inches of rain in less than 24 hours. Firefighters staging dramatic swiftwater rescues in McGregor. The governor confirming ongoing rescues underway in multiple counties.
That's our road.
Including Lampasas. One resident there capturing these rising floodwaters, sharing one family member had evacuated to a local fire department. Back in the broken heart of last week's catastrophe, county officials report 161 people are still missing. Heavy rain forcing the urgent recovery mission to a standstill.
It slowed us down, but it's not over.
NBC News with behind-the-scenes access to the nerve center of the recovery today. Thousands of volunteers were here yesterday. Today, it's empty, evacuated in fear of rising floodwaters.
In this area,
but firefighter Razor Dobbs drives on.
You're a volunteer.
Yes, sir.
You've been doing back-breaking work out here for 10 days for free. What motivates you to keep going?
The families. It's a family. I mean, I can't imagine the anguish that they must be feeling, especially the ones that are still looking.
Last Friday, this volunteer fire station was under at least 7 feet of water. Everything gone. Now it's stronger than ever. Restored by one purpose.
We want to bring their loved ones home so they can have closure. And that's the goal. There's no plan B.
Ryan Chandler is joining us now from Kerrville, where the mission to find the missing is back on at least partly tonight. Ryan.
Yeah, Hallie, late this evening, Kerr County cleared search and rescue teams to resume their mission in some parts of the county. Now, it could take months to find some of the people who are still missing, but these teams tell me they'll be here as long as it takes. Hallie.
Ryan Chandler in Kerrville, thank you. Out west at the Grand Canyon, wildfires spreading out of control have destroyed one of the historic lodges at the iconic national park. Steve Patterson reports.
Wow. Tonight, the fury from 2 raging wildfires laying siege to the north rim of the Grand Canyon.
We are all getting evacuated right now.
Park officials confirming the historic Grand Canyon Lodge was consumed by flames, along with park administrative buildings, visitor facilities, and a wastewater treatment plant. The fire at that plant prompting a release of chlorine gas that can prove deadly.
We were starting to get panicked. We didn't want to lose our lives down there.
Jamie Coffin and her friend Amanda Travis among those forced to evacuate from that leak, getting out of the canyon by chopper.
We didn't know how close that would be, and we were trying to hurry and pack.
In total, some 50 to 80 structures now confirmed lost, all destroyed by the so-called Dragon Bravo fire, which quickly scorched at least 5,000 acres, and the larger White Sage fire exploding to tens of thousands of acres after a lightning strike Wednesday. The Grand Canyon hosts the nation's third most popular national park, last year with more than 4.9 million visits. The historic lodge there, constructed nearly 100 years ago, served as a mountain oasis for millions, the only real lodging inside the park on the more remote North Rim, now destroyed by flames.
Holy.
Crews racing to contain out-of-control flames, tearing down a piece of Americana, cutting off access to one of the world's great wonders. Steve Patterson, NBC News.
We're learning tonight a dramatic shooting spree in Kentucky has left 2 people dead, several others hurt, including a state trooper, as police say they tracked the suspect from an airport to a church. Here's George Solis.
Tonight, tragedy unfolding in the Bluegrass State after a deadly shooting at a church just outside Lexington, Kentucky.
Something like this has a huge impact on our community.
The rampage today leaving 2 dead and 3 others injured, including a Kentucky state trooper, according to authorities. Police say the tense moments unfolding this morning after the suspect was pulled over by the trooper near the Bluegrass Airport. Authorities say the suspect, who has not been identified, shot the trooper and took off. Police tracking a stolen car and suspect to the Richmond Road Baptist Church just outside Lexington.
Preliminary information indicates that the suspect may have had a connection to the individuals at the church.
3 Lexington police officers shot and killed the suspect on the scene, according to officials. The 2 victims identified as 72-year-old Beverly Gum and 32-year-old Christina Combs. The other men rushed to a nearby hospital, one in critical, the other in stable condition. And just over an hour away, a scare tonight in Louisville. Panic erupting after what authorities described as an active aggressor targeting a youth basketball tournament.
Everyone is running down the stairs and there's chaos.
Authorities tonight saying some people were injured fleeing. Back in Lexington, the wounded trooper is in stable condition as the investigation continues. George Solis, NBC News.
A scathing new report tonight revealing new information about what went wrong and what's being done after what's described as an unacceptable breakdown leading up to the first assassination attempt against President Trump 1 year ago today. Shaquille Brewster has more.
This is a big crowd. This is a big, beautiful crowd.
A disturbing pattern of communication failures and negligence led to this moment in Butler, Pennsylvania.
Take a look at what happened.
According to a new Senate report released 1 year after the attempt on Donald Trump's life. Evading detection for nearly 45 minutes, 20-year-old Thomas Crooks fired 8 shots at then-candidate Trump from a rooftop. Crooks was killed shortly after. The Republican-authored report finding the Secret Service denied multiple requests for additional staff, assets, and resources, and that agents failed to communicate crucial information to Trump's detail. The shooting killing 50-year-old firefighter Corey Comparator, injuring 2 others, and rocking the 2024 presidential race. This latest investigation criticizing insufficient accountability. While former director Kimberly Cheadle resigned, the report saying not a single person has been fired. 6 employees were disciplined only days ago, given suspensions without pay ranging 10 to 42 days. 1 year since the shooting, President Trump at another major public event tonight, attending the FIFA Club World Cup at MetLife Stadium in New Jersey. In an interview aired on Fox News last night, saying mistakes were made, but expressing confidence in the Secret Service.
I know the people, and they're very talented, very capable. They had a bad day, and I think they'll admit that. They had a rough day.
And tonight, the Secret Service says it has already implemented substantive reforms to address failures from that day, like updating the official manual to streamline communication practices and launching a new aviation division to better support missions. Hallie?
Shaquille Brewster, thank you. A growing rift among some of the president's most loyal supporters widening this weekend over the Trump administration's handling of the Jeffrey Epstein case, with the president defending his attorney general, even as his deputy FBI director is said to be considering leaving. Here's Yamiche Alcindor.
Tonight, growing fallout over the Trump administration effectively closing the case of convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein, as many of the president's supporters demand more information.
How many of you are satisfied? You can clap. Satisfied with the results of the Epstein investigation? Clap.
This weekend in Florida, Epstein, a frequent topic at a summit hosted by the conservative group Turning Point USA.
The reason why we wanted Trump to be president is because he's supposed to get rid of the corruption, drain the swamp, not to protect people that are in Jeffrey Epstein's files.
The uproar comes after Attorney General Pam Bondi, the DOJ, and FBI issued an unsigned memo that said there is no additional evidence to reveal in the Epstein case. That enraged many in the MAGA base who are accusing Bondi and the Trump administration of a cover-up. Today, in a sign of where things stand, Bondi joining President Trump at the FIFA Club World Cup final. That after the president posted online saying, Attorney General Pam Bondi is doing a fantastic job. Let's not waste time and energy on Jeffrey Epstein. But that hasn't quieted the fervor or the questions. A source who has spoken to Deputy FBI Director Dan Bongino tells NBC News that Bongino is threatening to quit and torch Pam unless she's fired.
Do you have confidence in Attorney General Pam Bondi?
I do. America is safer with Pam Bondi as Attorney General.
Still, Elon Musk, once a close Trump ally and now a frequent critic, posting that the president should just release the files as promised.
Yamiche Alcindor joins us now from Warren, New Jersey. And Yamiche, this isn't just dividing the so-called MAGA movement. We are also hearing from some Democrats, too.
That's right, Hallie. Some Democrats are using this controversy over the Epstein files to criticize the president. Today, one senator said this fight is a sign of the chaos and disorder within the Trump administration. Hallie?
Yamiche Alcindor, traveling with the president in New Jersey. Thank you. The Trump administration also today appealing a federal judge's ruling from last week, saying officials cannot rely only on a person's race or language when deciding whether to detain them. The Homeland Security Secretary today denying that people have been targeted solely based on those factors. Still ahead tonight, why the AI chatbot Grok is now out with an apology. To the Middle East now, where the push toward a potential ceasefire now seems to be stalled. Matt Bradley is joining us from Jerusalem tonight. And Matt, we are getting reports of escalating violence in Gaza, right?
That's right, Hallie. Good evening. Yet another fresh tragedy in the Gaza Strip. An Israeli drone strike killed at least 10 people, most of them children, as they waited in line for water at the Nusayrat refugee camp. Now, in a rare acknowledgement, the Israeli military said the strike was a mistake that it regretted, and it blamed a technical malfunction. Now, the Palestinian Ministry of Health in Gaza reported yet another shooting at an aid distribution site in Rafah yesterday that killed at least 32 people, but the IDF said it wasn't aware of any reports of casualties. But relief for the people of Gaza might not be forthcoming. A senior Hamas official told NBC News today that he isn't expecting a ceasefire deal anytime soon. Hallie?
Matt Bradley in Jerusalem, thank you. Also tonight, an AI chatbot saying sorry. We're talking about Grok, which is produced by Elon Musk's company xAI, apologizing for what it calls horrific behavior after it produced a series of anti-Semitic posts last week. The company blamed a network update for the posts and says they've taken steps to course correct. We are back in a moment with a possible scientific breakthrough, how researchers could be on the verge of a colossal comeback for some extinct species. We are back with something literally out of a movie. Scientists making major progress toward bringing extinct species back from the dead. Marissa Parra has a closer look.
Oh, my God. It looks like a work of science fiction.
There were 9 species of these dinosaur-sized giant birds.
But this big bird, the long-lost New Zealand native moa, may be making a colossal comeback.
It was a 13.5-foot, 500-pound bird.
It's the latest endeavor from genetic engineering company Colossal Biosciences, trying to bring back extinct creatures from the past. like the direwolf and the woolly mammoth.
Why this bird, of all the birds?
We as humanity actually hunted them to extinction about 600 years ago. So it's a way to kind of undo the sins of the past.
Colossal says the science behind the so-called de-extinction involves extracting DNA from ancient bones or fossils and editing genes of its closest current relatives to eventually create an embryo or egg of the archaic animal. Procuring the necessary DNA for the moa bird became much easier once a familiar name entered the ring.
We want to be able to give the moa a natural environment.
None other than Lord of the Rings director Peter Jackson partnering with Colossal to resurrect this quintessentially New Zealand bird.
He's not just a passive investor. He actually has a collection of 300 to 400 moa bones.
But as Jurassic Park prophesized, sometimes things can go very wrong.
Clever girl.
Concerns that keep ecologists like Dave Strayer up at night.
These are amazing technologies. They produce enormous benefits to conservation, but they should not be deployed naively. We have lots of things that have gotten loose from supposedly secure facilities.
The team at Colossal says the gamble is worth the payoff.
I think the best thing that we can do for humanity is to bring the biodiversity crisis to the forefront, but do it in a way that's exciting.
He's betting on a future where, with a little luck and a whole lot of science, even extinction can be rewritten. Marissa Parra, NBC News.
When we come back, there's good news tonight about an old school solution to a modern day problem. There is good news tonight about the old school technology helping to make modern connections. At this workshop in rural Vermont, what's old is new again. A blast from the past that looks cool and sounds cool. But for Patrick Schlott, it's his way of paying it forward.
It started as sort of a hobby, and it spiraled into something that is a pretty cool public service.
For the last year and a half, Patrick has been buying old payphones and fixing them up before putting them to work around town.
There are large swaths of the state without cell phone coverage. The Vermont ethos is very neighbor helping neighbor. So I figured that's the way I can contribute.
Inspired by similar efforts in cities like Philadelphia and Detroit, Patrick has installed phones at places like this general store, a rest stop, and a library. But they're not payphones, technically, since they're free to use, sort of. Patrick pays for each call out of his own pocket.
I call it a pay less phone because you don't need change.
Holly Legue is the director of the Latham Memorial Library, home to one of the phones.
These kids wouldn't have another option to give their parents a call if we weren't able to offer this phone.
In just a month, this phone made more than 200 calls by families like the Kramers.
There's a lot of times where Ian and my other kids come to the library after school before I can pick them up, and they don't have cell phones yet.
Sometimes I don't know when I'm going to get picked up from the library, so I can just call mom or dad.
These phones, not just useful, they're turning back time.
There's just kind of a fun element. I mean, in libraries, we love to bring older technology into the hands of people who might remember it fondly or maybe have never seen it before. So it brings a lot of joy.
And Patrick's got new locations planned with the same mission. Neighbor helping neighbor.
That's the way I can contribute. Kids need to phone home. It doesn't matter why you need to use the phone, but that can be a positive benefit for the community.
That is Nightly News for this Sunday. Tom will be back tomorrow. I'm Hallie Jackson. For all of us here at NBC, thanks for watching and have a great week.
We thank you for watching, and remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or watch live on our YouTube channel.